Hey guys, it's Saturday. We're at the Velvethamma shop, and give you guys a little teaser here. I'm getting ready to mask this thing up. I've got the fender back on. I still have some prep work to do, but I've got somewhere I have to be tonight, so I gotta call it quits here. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon. I gotta get that RS emblem off. Anybody ever pull one of these door handles out of these cars that have one of these doodads in them? I don't know if this actuates the locks or turns the dome light on before you open the car or what the hell it does. But yeah, those are a son of a bitch to get unplugged. Normally you just pull a screw out in here, pop the lock mechanism out, slide the door handle to the side and jerk it out. But there's wires on these that go through here. So I did not make a video. There's no way I could have got a camera even close to showing you what the hell I was doing there. But fitment's pretty good. I gapped it the same as the other side. I might need to fuss with this hood a little because this is closer than the other side, but it doesn't touch. No problems there. Headlights fit like they should. Gaps are the same between the hood and the headlight, so all that looks cool. I just kind of wiped it down and getting the first layer of scum and filth off of it. So that's kind of where I'm at with this one. If you didn't see the video last night, there's a bumper cover. Painted, no runs. See ya, have a nice day. So that's my little teaser for the day, and just wanted to kind of give you guys a quickie. We'll catch you later. Alright guys, it's paint day, and girls. Here's the color. This is WA637R Cyber Gray Metallic. This is DeBeer. Let's scoot in on it. There we go. Nice focus. This is a clear base coat that I'll use for my control coat to fill in the scuff scratches so that we don't get a funky metallic blend. And that's the reducer. It's a medium temperature. So let's look at the Cruse crew. I'm trying something new here. Well, let's see if I can get some styrofoam insulation pieces in my clear coat. But seriously, I'm trying to insulate the bottom of the car from this freezing cold floor. We're about 80 degrees, 85 degrees in here now, which will slowly drop as I paint. Fender back on, adjusted. Fit is good. It's in sealer. I went ahead and put some sealer over my bodywork here, and you can sort of see the faint line. Now I'm going to end up painting 85% of this hood. I will get this all hidden and then start working my way this way, tacking between coats to get any overspray off. I will also go ahead and put some of that clear base coat over this, so any of this that lands in this won't be all goofy. And I'm going to try, you've got this line on the fender that kind of slopes off like that, and on the hood. The fender only has about 3/4 of an inch on the top of it, so about a finger width is all there is. I'm going to try and get away with stopping my color here and not blending that fender, because when you look at it from the side, you see this, and I'm going to weaken that color with that clear base coat as I go. We'll see. No guarantees. The other thing, the door is nothing but a blend panel in this job. There was no damage to the door, so it is taped off, it's scuffed, it's ready. I've got it set up there so that I do not get any overspray from my color all over this door. So I will go ahead and bring you guys back when it's spray time. Alright, here we go with the first coat of base on the 2013 Chevy Cruse, and what I've got in my Devilbiss Plus gun here is excuse me, a clear base coat for a blending agent. I'm gonna try to blend this hood, but chances are I'll end up changing my mind before the job is done, and I'll end up just painting the whole hood. It's kind of hard, especially with a color like this, for me to get a blend where you don't see it in a hood. So I'll go ahead and put this clear base coat on the far edge because I won't be blending that passenger fender. The way that it's set up, I think I described earlier, it breaks off at a nice point there where we can leave some of the factory color on that hood and just drift a little bit of this new color into it. So I will use the Sata 3000 HVLP here with the 1.3 tip, and I'm going to go ahead and work on this area that I've sealed where the body work was and try and get that hidden first. I need to get a little bit of paint over the edge, not putting it on very heavy at all, just trying to get a little bit of color on there just in case there are any contaminants. You can get fish eyes or silicone holes if you try and put too heavy of a first coat on. So I'll just go real quick and try and hide that work. And then the fender is already in sealer that's been scuffed. I sealed it the other day, so I'll go ahead and get that covered again with a light coat. I've been struggling a little bit with this DeBeer 500 barrel base solvent-based base coat. That's a lot of words for base, but neither here nor there. It's a very thick product, and the paint rep told me that this particular base coat works well with the Sata guns, and if you put it on pretty heavy, it works great, but you really got to get the gun up real close to get it wet. And of course, the first coat, we're not really trying for that, but we'll see. So there's the end of the first coat, just trying to get that closed up. We'll go for the second coat. Again, I start right back to back with that clear blending agent. The sand scratches are filled in over there already from that first coat of blender I put on it, but again, any overspray that gets over there, I guess my thinking was to avoid trying to get any dry overspray over there, and have some metallic standing up and ruining the blend that I may try and attempt. Again, this is probably not a procedure that I would do every day, but I'm trying it, and I look at it in between coats, and eventually you'll see later in the video that I make the executive decision to just go all the way over to the hard body line on the passenger side of the hood. So second coat, I'm starting to get pretty good coverage on this, putting it on a little bit heavier at this point, but I'm not going all the way up the hood. I'm just trying to contain my base coat to that sealed up bodywork area and trying to hide the fender and get it covered. You can see by the way I've got this masked, and the little V in between the hood and the fender is where the headlight is, and I keep kind of spraying some base back over that edge because I did jam these, but I wasn't real picky about how much base I got on there, and after mounting the fender up, I really realized that maybe I needed to get a little bit more base over that little area, because once the headlight is installed on this particular vehicle, it does show just a little bit of that fender, and if it were light or I had too much metallic standing up over there, if I sprayed it too dry or too far away, or whatever the case may be, that'll show up pretty easily. But at any rate, there I go, and we're just shooting a little bit more base behind that, trying to get coverage. So that's second coat, and I'm trying to think, I want to say it took like 5 coats to get this covered and then go ahead and go across the hood. So here we go, another round with the base coat blender. Notice I have the driver door bagged up. Don't want any of this color on that door just yet until all my body work is hidden. And then once I go for my effect coat to get that metallic to stand up, I will drift some of this color into that door, but we're not quite there yet. I'm spraying this at 26 psi in that Sata Jet with the 1.3 tip. The fender covered really well, but for some reason my bodywork area in that hood, it just took a while to get it covered. So already on that third coat, and the fender's looking real good. Before you put the effect coat on it, it actually
The metallic doesn't look right in it. It almost looks like it wants to model just a little bit, or tiger stripe just a little bit. These dark gray metallics and silvers are not my strong suit. But now that I'm on the third coat, I think this is the point where I made the decision that I'm going to go ahead and coat the whole hood. The other thing, you saw me just throw that hose over my shoulder. I get in a bad habit of carrying the hose out in front of me because I don't paint a lot of vehicles with the hood on. Of course, this month, this is the second one I painted with the hood on. Usually, if I can reach across it, I'll go ahead and do it, but I'm 5'10", and I don't have particularly long arms, so this can be a struggle for me. Any of you other guys who are shorter and non-painters may encounter the same issues that I do. So I stop right at that edge and call it good, and drift a little color back in that corner of the hood where the headlight opening is too as well. So there's 3 coats. Okay. Now we're going for number 4, and I still have not blended that door yet. I don't think I liked my coverage. That was my first overall coat on the hood, so something made me decide to go ahead and do another overall coat on the hood. So more blending clear on that lip. I probably could have got away with not doing that every coat, but I tend to overkill things because I don't do this day to day in a body shop. So I kind of go with what I remember and what I know, and go from there. It may look like I'm traveling fairly fast on this hood, but it may not be easy to tell that I'm really close on that panel. So when you start getting real close, you really got to speed up, or you'll model it when it comes to base coat if it's metallic, or if it's clear coat, you run the risk of running it if you travel too slow. My initial thinking was I'd lose that blend on the passenger side of that hood brake in the center there, but the more I thought about it, the more that didn't seem to be a very good idea with this kind of metallic. The metallic was wanting to sort of halo as it got across that, and I decided let's just color the whole hood the same color so when you look out across it, it looks right. And it may not be a perfect match to the passenger fender, but it's going to be real close because I kept that color away. So now I'm tending to go ahead and go down the entire panel instead of just going with my reach. I'm doing a little side step, but trying to maintain distance, and about a 70% overlap with this, maybe 75%. And then we're going to get into the blend here, so I'm going to go ahead and peel this paper off my door. We've kept that new color off of the door up to this point. Now that I'm pretty satisfied that everything has been hidden well. And of course, I got a little carried away and taped up onto my plastic. And anybody who's ever tried to pull the masking tape off the plastic, it usually rips, so you got to be kind of careful. I tried to tape just up to the paper, but I was in a hurry, and that tends to be my downfall. I get in a hurry a lot of times, and this is not a game of hurry up and get it perfect. Usually hurry up means screw it up, at least in my case. Also, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but you see there's a silver reflection coming off the floor right in front of my feet. That's a piece of styrofoam insulation because my floor is about 45 degrees, and it was really killing the panel temp. I had most of it up to about 75 degrees, but the bottom of that panel didn't want to stay there. So here we go with the clear base coat, blending clear, whatever you want to call it. And I'm not quite going all the way to the door handle. It looks like I am, but I'm just shy of that. And the reason I do that is that blending clear, if you get that and a couple coats of clear coat on top of the factory clear that's on that door edge, you could change the color. So what I'm doing here, now that that door's got some of that wet clear base coat in it, I'm just kind of flicking my arm out and drifting some of that new color into just the front edge of the door, maybe the first 3 inches of that door. Some colors you can get away with putting even less into it, but I really wanted to make sure that this was going to be an acceptable match. I don't have a sun gun, but I do have daylight color bulbs in my fluorescent lights. At this point, as I'm coming back into this fender, I stopped and dropped the air pressure on the gun, and I backed up my distance, and I'm walking the panel here, and that is my orientation coat to get that metallic standing up and doing its job. One thing to be careful with silvers and golds, air pressure can change the color. If you jack the air pressure way up, sometimes you can make a color brighter, and if you drop it way too low and back up and those metallics are doing something a little different, or Zerillics or pearls or whatever's in the paint, they can actually darken a color. So you kind of got to watch. I'm not an expert at it, but from experience I've played around with this and have been told so. So there it is. I'm going to go ahead and tack it off. I noticed in between coats I was getting a lot of dust. Just my shop is dirty. You can see there's a truck body in there that's covered in body filler dust and stuff, and I wet the floor down and I swept early in the morning and ran the fan and all that noise, but I was still getting it, just almost a fog of dust. Of course some of that was overspray, but for the most part it's just dust. I always have to cut and polish my jobs at least to some extent, whether it's just to get a few dust nibs out or to get a lot of dust nibs out. And occasionally on a hood I'll go ahead and polish the whole thing just because it needs to look nice in my opinion. So here's the spray gun. I didn't turn it quite well enough, but that's about 21, 22 psi. Iwata LPH400 with the 1.3 tip. And I'm going to spray this at about 4 inches away. First coat's not going to be real heavy, but it's got to close up over the base. Otherwise, it'll be kind of textured. So I'm just going along the back of the hood and some of these areas that I know I got base coat onto. And if you're looking out of the car, this hood has a fairly tall gap in between the cowl and the top of the hood. So if you get dry base in there, you're going to stare at that looking out your windshield. So I'm just trying to chase all my edges first, and this will a lot of times be the only coat of clear that I actually go underneath it like this and trying to get the edge. So we'll just put a good flowing coat on it, not a heavy coat. It'll be wet, but it won't be wet to the point where you're scared it's going to run off. I also had the temperature up in the shop, probably about low 80s. It's hard to maintain it. I do have a salamander torpedo type diesel fired heater that is down the hallway and pulling in fresh air with that. But it's hard to maintain those temps, and especially with the concrete floor being cold. Moving right along, going from the front to the back of this hood, just trying to get enough clear on there that it looks like it's closed up and it's not all textured up. Realizing my limitations of my short wingspan rather. Adjusting my pressure a little bit too. I think I ended up turning it down for some reason today. That just seemed like a bit much pressure. It may also look like I'm double passing this, but this is probably about a 80% overlap with this clear and the gun that I'm spraying it with. It just tends to do a better job if you keep a real tight overlap on it. You don't want to probably do 100%, but I've found that it's not impossible to get a run with this gun, but it's difficult. especially on a flat panel. Also, I tend to drop the pressure a little bit on a hood and put on a little bit more on the second coat and just let it do its own thing and flow out. This is a real bitchy area here because you need a little gloss inside there. You could argue that I probably should have just painted the whole fender first and gone back and masked off on another day after I assembled it and just drifted a little color into the door, but to each their own. This was a fairly difficult fender to install because of the way it mounts, and you know, you can put masking tape all over it, but at the end of the day you can still nick it, so I decided to opt to do it this way. A lot of times you'll see me going back over something, and that's due to my poor lighting. I noticed that I didn't get enough clear on it, so I'll go ahead and go back over it. Another thing you'll notice is I'm painting most of that fender in one swipe, and then I painted the rest of it and went into the first 2 or 3 inches of the front of that door and painted through the door gap. If you stop on a door gap, you'll get that excess buildup of clear, which can either turn into a run or just look terrible. So, got to be cautious of that. I paint from the bottom up a lot of times because it's easier for me to see, and it's easier for me to start to come from a crouched position to a standing position, kind of in a fluid motion as I get closer to the top. If I just painted the top and then had to kneel right back down to the bottom, it just doesn't work as well for me, so this is the way I do it. You could say that you might get some overspray that way, but it's not so hot in the shop, and I'm not running a fast hardener in this clear, so we should be just fine. So there's your first coat, all finished. Now this second coat, I will slow down a little bit. I may also increase my distance a touch, but just double checking my pressure there, and let's get her done. That probably had 15-minute flash time. That this clear says 7 to 10 minutes, but it takes about 15 minutes to exchange the air in the shop and get the fog out. And I like to start with minimal or zero fog from the last coat of clear when I go to my next coat. Maybe someday I'll have a nice downdraft paint booth, but until that day comes, this is what we got to deal with. Painting in the sandbox. So we're staying right about 4, maybe 5 inches away, and I've slowed down considerably. I probably could have slowed down even more, but we're keeping that 80% overlap, at least the best I can. It's just real difficult for me to lean over a hood, and this is not a big car. Going around inspecting, making sure I don't have any dry areas, because that last coat of clear had plenty of time to close up. And the new overspray won't melt into it unless you have plenty of clear on there. So this is the Matrix MS78 European style clear. It's a 2-to-1. It's a pretty decent clear. When you put it in the cup and look at it, it actually looks clear. It doesn't look yellow like some clears do, which can sort of alter the effect of your blends and your panel matches, things like that. Again, I keep backing up and taking a look at it and trying to decide whether I got enough on it yet. This job had 0 runs, so we lucked out there. But I keep fussing with this gap. I probably could have propped the hood open more, but I only put a piece of paper along the front 18 inches of the hood going inside, and then the paper that goes from the windshield comes all the way and closes off the whole engine compartment. notice I had to go back over that center. I was not happy with how much clear I had on there, and usually 2 coats is all we do unless I'm not happy with the clear, and I might wait a little while and pound a 3rd one on there if it didn't flow out well. Cold in wintertime, it's really hard to keep that panel temperature up in my shop and be able to keep that clear moving. Usually it doesn't start, if I'm going to get a run, it doesn't start moving until I either get the temperature really back up in there toward 90 or 100 degrees, or if I double pass something, which I've been guilty of more than once. So again, painting through that door gap, not stopping on it so that we don't get that big buildup of clear there. Peeking around, trying to decide what's what. I usually only put 1 coat of clear on the inside of the fender lip as well. And I stopped my first coat of actual clear coat shy of the door gap to the back door, again to hopefully avoid any color match issues that might arise due to having, 2 coats of factory clear and 2 coats of my clear and a coat of blending clear as well. Just got to be careful around the door handle opening there. I do have the door handle out, and that little well that your fingers go into to pull the door latch, you can get too much in there and really end up with a mess on your hand, and you'll have a curtain of clear running down the side of the door. I've done that once or twice. So there you go. There's your 2nd coat, and we'll get you a shot of it all done.
All right, delivery day on this one. Of course, we got this kind of day here. Yeah, it's gloomy and crappy and everything, so not a great day to show how this turned out, but I always want to give you guys a final look at these vehicles if I can. Hood repair right here. All nice. It's hard to tell how shiny it is because it's so gloomy outside, but there you go. There's that. And of course, when it's dark like this, you can't tell blends very well. It hides them, unfortunately, but we got a good match there. So she's all reassembled and wiped down. So there you guys go. Just a quick final look at the vehicle. I wish it was sunnier, but unfortunately we don't have any sun today, so we'll see ya.